Now we're going to send it down to Brendan Parker and Cory Sarich for tonight's Flames TV postgame show presented by Original 16.
All right, welcome inside our Flames TV Live post-game show presented by Original 16 after an absolute thriller here tonight at the Scotiabank Saddledome. Brendan Parker alongside Cory Sarich, a game that maybe started out a little slower, not a lot of offense early, but it finished with a flurry late, and it included some overtime dramatics here tonight. The Flames get the victory 4-3. Nazem Kadri, you can kind of see him in the background. He's talking to Ryan Leslie of Sportsnet post-game tonight, but that is two consecutive heroic moments from Kadri. And what did you make of the finish here tonight for the Flames?
Oh, it was an excellent finish. It had, like you said, all the drama you could want in a push for the playoffs. And this whole game just had a little bit of everything. Lots of ebbs and flows. Not easy coming home off of the road after you're getting 3 big wins. You know, you can always talk about these games as sometimes being hard to play as a professional athlete, but I thought the Flames handled it very well. There were points in the game where they're not going to be real happy with their home game. You know, it has been very staunch defensively. It got away from them a little bit at times, but when you find a way to get it done, ultimately, that's the be-all and end-all. And I just thought the perseverance tonight and kind of dedication by all the guys to get the job done no matter what, that speaks volumes.
Yeah, no question. And, looked like at times it was going to be hard to find that equalizer going down, 2-1 into the third period. Seemed like they started to push, though, as that third period went along and eventually found that game-tying goal, courtesy of the power play, which, I think they had moments earlier, but that 4 minutes, they used almost the entirety of the 4 minutes, but found a way to get that big goal.
Yeah, and it was, again, sticking with it because it's easy as your power play is not gaining traction. You've got 4 minutes of it to kind of just lose faith in it and go away from it. But they did a great job. And I thought the puck movement on the power play tonight was actually great in all of their power plays. They maybe didn't generate as many chances as they have been recently off the power play, but control was still there. So you still had faith that something was going to get accomplished towards the end of that double minor that ultimately ended up being the tying goal.
Let's take a look at how it all went down here tonight in terms of our highlights. And obviously it starts with the Calgary Flames getting on the board first, and then you'd see the pushback in the second from the Seattle Kraken. But it was the big man that provided the spark in the early going for the Flames. And he's just basically taking sticks and bodies with him to the net and finds a way to bury his second of the season.
This is exactly what they want out of Adam Klapka. He's got good energy. He's heading down the wing. Fleury tries to get a piece of him, and that's a big body to step in front of. He didn't fully commit. Great patience taking this puck to the net. Gathers his own rebound, and up against a guy like Alexiak, he was very determined to get this thing and finds the back of the net. And that was a big goal for the Calgary Flames to get them going partway through this first period.
Had a nice little game. Klapka in some limited minutes as it went along, but had an impact right from the start. So too did that line of Rooney and Lomberg. So Klapka gets him on the board, and then it would be the second period more favored towards the visitors as the Seattle Kraken would get the game tying goal on a power play, despite a couple of big blocks up at the top. Joel Farabee had that one, but they work it around and eventually finds the stick of Jaden Schwartz, who goes between the legs of Wolf.
Yeah, it was nice puck movement here. Not an easy assignment for Mackenzie Weegar, who's out in front. Reacts to the puck in desperation after puck bounced around a little bit. And Jaden Schwartz, he knows how to find the back of the net too. He's always pesky around there in the blue paint, and he's kind of made his living there.
21 goals for Schwartz. That tied it up. And then near the end of the second period, just over a minute to play, Ty Karche streaks through the middle, and this may be what you're talking about coming through the open ice.
Yeah, and they did have a few of these early in the first period where guys got behind them, and I think there was probably 4 instances tonight, and this is one that finally bit them. And just before Dustin Wolf allows this goal, there were a couple of posts and crossbars on the power play, and just too many good looks in a row for the Seattle Kraken at this point. And that was the part of the game I felt that the Flames were the weakest, was that second half of that second period.
Well, let's get to the third, and you touched on it a little bit, but they stuck with it on this 4-minute penalty, and eventually Nazem Kadri gets a really good look and capitalizes.
Yeah, and they did have really great traffic throughout this. There was pucks being put to Decord, and he made some really big saves. And again, they finally get a nice clean look. Nazem Kadri, pardon me, and he does a great job of finding the top corner.
Perfectly placed. 27th goal of the season for Kadri, which ties him for the team lead in goals. More on that in just a moment, but the Flames would just keep on pushing, and Rasmus Andersson gets to break out the stair with an absolute bomb off the faceoff.
Yeah, he gets this one clean, takes a good shot, and I think it might deflect off. Did you say it was Jaden Schwartz gets a little shin pad on that
grazed
something?
the edge of the. It's hard to tell for sure, but looked like it hit Schwartz's shin pads.
Definitely changed a little bit of directions, but again, a huge goal for the Calgary Flames. They got through a couple of penalty kills at this point, and now you've got a couple minutes left in this game. You're looking to close it out.
Yeah, and this is now the 6-on-5, so we're talking about late stages of the third period, and probably a bit of an unfortunate bounce here, just where the puck was sitting. And guys tried to get the stick of Eberle, but he gets literally just enough to let it get through.
Yeah, it's the old pool cue shot here. He just makes a little poke at it, gets it with the very tip of his stick, and actually it's kind of funny that that thing doesn't go left or right on him, and it goes straight through Wolf's legs. So a pretty crafty play by number 7, but he seems to always be able to find a way to sneak one past the Flames.
It's true. 17 goals, I think, now in his career against the Calgary Flames, obviously with a variety of teams. But he was almost figured into the conversation there at one end, but it goes quickly back the other way. And isn't that how overtime works more often than not? Kadri's the one that's on the other side waiting for the breakaway and buries the game winner for a second straight game.
Yeah, it was crazy. Matt Coronado was having a few puck handling issues in the corner there. Loses control. All of a sudden, Seattle looks like they're going to get a break, but it's a miscue. It's a bad pass. They try to force it a little bit from behind the net on their quick break, and Kadri, who wasn't quite back yet, was the benefactor of that miscue by the Seattle Kraken.
It's funny how that oftentimes is what happens. Is you just at that point you're just waiting and hoping you get a save or hoping you get a miscue. And it was a clear breakaway all the way from the red line in. But 28 goals on the year for Kadri. That's now the team lead. And that back and forth between Kadri and Huberdeau for the league team lead in goals continues, because Huberdeau's had it for a lot of the season, but Kadri has now jumped out in front, and I think the Flames will take that battle all day long.
Yeah, that's not a bad little competition to have in your dressing room.
That's right.
Those guys pushing each other. You know, Kadri was in a battle of his own last year, trying to get to a certain threshold with his points, and he had some really impactful games down the stretch. So good to see it happening again internally.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Kadri specifically, because he certainly has a flair for these moments. And you go back to Saturday night on Long Island, and he obviously gets the overtime winner there, and then tonight again. And just a guy that seems to thrive when the spotlight is the biggest. He wants the puck on his stick, and he certainly finds ways to impact the game at those times.
Yeah, if you asked him, I think he'd probably say he likes to score goals and likes to score big ones. So pretty easy to see. Love the expression on his face. Love the reaction here when he gets it done, and he's having a great time. So you need the Calgary Flames have not scored goals easily this year, and if you can get a couple guys going here, getting a couple guys heating up at the right time, that's perfect. But he has been one of their consistent bright spots in that goal scoring category this year.
No question about it. And you just absolutely loves those moments, and the celebration, I think, says a lot on both of them. Obviously the game tying goal earlier in the period, and then that one that wins it for the Flames, and they get the 4-3 victory. Let's hear from Kadri now.
Feels like a familiar storyline here.
Yeah, it's because it is. Yeah, I mean, great win. Resilient third period comeback. Down but not out. That's been the Flames' way this year.
What was the difference between the third period and the first 40 for you guys?
I don't know. Maybe a little more pressure. Started to get a little more aggressive and take our shots. I feel like we passed up some opportunities in the first 40 minutes, and we knew we were due for a power play call too in the third, so a power play had to be ready and got us a huge goal, tie the game.
You obviously have a knack for these goals, Nazem. Compared to say the first period versus the third period overtime, how different is your mindset in those clutch moments? Really not much different. I'm always trying to go out there and attack and try to make something happen offensively with being responsible and not give anything up defensively. And I think lately we've been able to do that. So, I mean, obviously, once overtime comes, I try to give myself a little extra juice to step up for the guys in the dressing room. But mindset doesn't really change much.
With the exchange with you.
All right, we'll get back to Nazem Kadri in just a moment, but wanted to welcome in Morgan Frost here live. And Morgan, maybe just take us through that because obviously a little slower in terms of the offense at the start of the game, and then you get that flurry at the end. What was the emotions like as you find an equalizer, find a go-ahead goal, but had to rally again in OT?
Yeah, I think for most of the first and second period, we weren't completely playing our game. I thought there was flashes, but kind of lacked a little energy, and then. I think we just felt good going into the third period. We felt like we were going to come back, and some big plays were made, got the crowd going, and I thought we played a pretty good third period. And obviously want to lock it down at the end there. You don't want to bring it to overtime, but when you got Kadri in OT, I think you're good.
Yeah, no question.
Morgan, you come over from the Flyers, you become a Calgary Flame. You're thrust into this and now find yourself in the middle of a playoff race. How are you adjusting? How are you feeling? Is your comfort level where it needs to be? Do you feel like you're settled here as a Calgary Flame?
I do, yeah. I think all the guys have been great. I think Beezer and I have had a ton of fun since we got here, and it takes a little bit of time, I think, to kind of find your role on the team. But like I said, I've been having a lot of fun and just try and help and contribute in any way I can. And yeah, feeling comfortable now. So we're playing some fun hockey right now.
You mentioned you had the chance just earlier in overtime, but as you see Kadri obviously get that breakaway from the red line in, you're probably feeling pretty confident at that point?
Yeah, I actually had Lombo beside me. I think it was Lombo. It might have been Colsey, but from the red line, you just knew what was going to happen, and that's a pretty special move right there. So. Yeah, that was a great finish, and it was nice to see the crowd like that.
From your perspective, what are you seeing right now, just in terms of some of the late stages, the comebacks, but just I don't know, something about this group that's brewing right now. What are you kind of seeing in the room when things are going hard, and yet you're still finding ways to get things done?
I think you credit a lot of that to our leadership group. I think, like I said, we never really felt. Like we weren't going to win that game, even down, going into the third, and it's just no quit hockey. I think, obviously we'd like to play with leads a little bit more and try and hold leads, but I think it shows the resiliency when we're coming back late in games like that, and like I said, good leadership, and those guys kind of will us through.
Mackenzie Weegar mentioned that leadership group in his comments this morning, and he said, and I thought it was a compliment to the whole room, that sometimes they're not even having to say anything these days. So I think that speaks to the inner workings of a dressing room and you guys coming together. And are there some other guys that are stepping up and filling the roles of those leaders and saying their pieces, or is it just kind of a known that you guys are going to get the job done at this point?
Yeah, I think it's just a great group in there. I think a lot of guys do. Obviously some of those older guys, they lead a lot, but young guys are taking charge, and sometimes it's not always about saying something. I think it's about how you're playing on the ice, and guys are doing a great job leading out there, and like I said, a lot of resiliency.
Good stuff, bud. Congrats on the game. Heck of a finish, and got to do another biggest game of the season Thursday night.
Every game.
Every game, baby.
Keep it going.
Thank you.
Right,
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
There's Morgan Frost here live on the desk. Let's rejoin Nazem Kadri in the locker room now.
The exchange with you and Montour, that just fuels your fire, doesn't it? Like, you'll take that and use that every time.
Yeah, I mean, well, if I got the 5 anyways, I kind of wish I dropped my gloves and gave him a little something. But, I kept him on, trying to stay out of the box, and ended up finding myself in there, which I disagreed with. But, I'm glad it worked out.
You have it's not very often you have a breakaway that long to kind of think about it. You had kind of open sailing for most of the ice. What's going through your head knowing the game's on your stick there?
Finish the game. Hoping it's a game winner. So, the ice was a little chewed up. It started to roll a little bit. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't just a little bit concerned, but was able to finish the move off, and we needed that second point.
You mentioned the damage is not a component of this team, and it's obvious for all of us to Is it something you can feel when this group is within striking?
Certainly. I mean, I think we spoke about that between intermissions, second intermission. We're pretty poised and composed if we're in that type of situation because it's familiar to us and obviously being at home, we've done it on the road, which can be incredibly difficult. And we were at home today. We always had the belief that we were going to tie the game.
What turned the game in the third?
Just taking the shots we had to. I think we got more aggressive, like I mentioned earlier, and just didn't overpass. Just tried to get some shot volume, and we found a couple nice rebounds that we could have buried as well. So just having that shooting mentality.
How have you mentioned you really liked the second one tonight? Like how have you seen your group respond to the fact that the Blues have kind of cranked the pressure in this wild card race?
I mean, we're trying to hunt them down. I mean, that's really the main goal. We're looking at teams ahead of us, and if they continue to win, we're going to have to continue to win. Regardless, even if they lose, I don't think our mindset changes a whole lot. We're out there trying to, win every single game we're in. It's we feel like it's a do or die situation, even though it probably isn't. But we're embracing it that way.
When you see that 300 puck on your mantle years from now, you will remember this game and how we remember it.
Yeah, sure will. I think, I almost forgot about that in the back of my mind, but Hubie was quick to remind me after the game. I'm sure I'm going to have to put a few bucks on the board for next game. But, it's a lot of goals. I've been fortunate to, play alongside some great players, and just to, step up for your teammates is really no other feeling like that.
Okay, thanks.
All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Nazem Kadri, you heard Morgan Frost talk about that as soon as that puck hit his stick around the neutral zone. They felt pretty good that game would be over shortly thereafter, and it sure was, thanks to Nazem Kadri. But maybe he doesn't get that opportunity to do that unless you get a couple of big saves from your goaltender, Dustin Wolf. And obviously, that one squeaks through late stages that gets it to overtime, but there were some really good saves from Mr. Wolf once again in the Flames net.
Yeah, he was just, as we've been starting to say, he was just Dustin Wolf again tonight.
Sure.
He was very engaged in the game. He didn't have a lot of work early, but a huge save here on the Montour breakaway. Big save on this redirection in front. And he just, you know what? You can tell he's got confidence. He doesn't hit the panic button in there. And this just seemed like a very routine game for Dustin Wolf. I'm sure he doesn't want to give up that one at the end of the game. He wants to get his glove on it. But the saves that he's making, I mean, we've seen him do it all year long. And it's nice to have that consistency within your pipes.
Yeah, no question. Like you look back at the second period, that was his busiest period, 12 shots, but only faced 9 as a total through the third period on overtime. But you look at those 9 shots that he did face, and I don't know that too many of them weren't of at least some high quality variety. So
yeah, and he got a little help from his posts
couple
tonight,
of posts, sure,
and that's going to happen. I think it's super neat that here we look at a 4-game win streak, and you've had both goaltenders involved, each with 2 wins, and that's got to bode well too at a time like this. Just knowing that no matter who you're going to have to lean on, the guys are getting the job done.
Well, and the schedule doesn't let up, so you're going to need them at some point, and you got your next back-to-back will be on this next road trip in Utah and Colorado. Colorado first, Utah second. So you know that both goalies are going to be needed down the stretch. But it was Wolf tonight, 26 saves in the win. Let's hear from Dustin now.
What do you say about just the way your group continues to do this? I guess maybe even specifically the way Nazem has kind of been able to be the finisher here.
Yeah, I mean, these games are do or die. So you need guys to step up, and he's been a very integral part of exactly that. He's scoring goals exactly when we need him, and that's exactly what we need down the stretch here.
Are you surprised anymore the way this group kind of hangs around? And it's been done different ways, but just the way this group hangs around and finds ways to go about it? Yeah,
there's a fight in this room, and it doesn't matter if we have a good period, a bad period, we come out the next one, and especially in the third period lately, we're playing really well, and this time of year, it doesn't really matter what happens. You just got to find a way to win hockey games, and some are going to be pretty, some aren't. And if we are able to get 2 points the other night, that's all we care about.
Dustin, what's going through your mind when he takes that 10-second break?
I had my stick on my head, and I was praying to God he put it in the net. No, I mean, if there's anyone on a breakaway, I know he's going to score, and he did just that, and I was glad we were able to get a whistle in overtime to get him back out of the box. And no, it just worked out very nicely.
I haven't seen a sheet yet, but you should get an assist there for that save, shouldn't you? Going the other way.
I don't know. We'll see.
Talk about just the power of belief right now. I mean, you could look at the out-of-town scoreboard, as I know you guys do on a regular basis, but just the idea that this group has done what you just talked about, but the power of the belief inside this room.
Sure. I mean, the belief has been there all year. There's been stretches where, hockey games haven't gone our way. We've had a tough time kind of stringing them along, but if there's ever a time to get the engines running, it's right now, and it's a super tight race, as everyone knows, and you certainly don't want to let one slip away because the other guys aren't.
What have you seen in the way your group has responded? Like, St. Louis has gone on quite a tear yet, and you guys have had to try to make sure you keep up with them. How have you seen your group kind of respond to that challenge?
I mean, I don't think the challenge is necessarily about St. Louis. It's about the guys here in the room and the effort we want to put on the ice for 60 minutes. We can't control what goes on over there. We can obviously hope for outings to go our way, but at the end of the day, we got to take control of our own destiny here, get 2 points every night, and kind of just see where things take us.
Okay, thanks, Wolf.
Yep.
Thanks, Dustin.
All right, some good stuff there from Dustin Wolf. Obviously, a lot of the focus will be on that out-of-town scoreboard. The St. Louis Blues, they continue to hold court, 7 straight wins, but the Flames have 3 games in hand, so that'll be something we'll keep an eye on. We'll update the standings maybe near the end of the show, but early on in this hockey game, it looked like, the goaltenders have talked a lot about it this year, but the commitment to blocking shots has been steady and prevalent throughout the course of the year, and he got some big ones in that first period from his group in front of him.
Yeah, it was kind of an all-out effort here in the block shot category. You see Rasmus Anderson lays down here, takes one off the ankle. Mackenzie Weegar taking away a scoring chance right in the slot. You're going to have Joel Farabee coming out here, and I don't know if we'll get to see both of his, but he took 2 hard ones, and
good ones,
Anderson had a double up as well. So this is what you have to have. This is commitment. This is called selling out, and you're going to do whatever it takes to help your team win. And you heard Dustin Wolf talk about their effort at the end of the game. I mean, that's just, it has to be there. You have to have desperation in your game. I thought that it was there in the first period. It went away a little bit in the second, but they found a way to get back after it in the third period and get the job done. So with St. Louis and the streak that they're on right now, they've been playing some really great hockey. This almost turned into a must-win. Yep. You're looking at the scoreboard partway through this game, and St. Louis has a big lead, and as long as they keep going, the Calgary Flames have to keep pace. So this was a huge 2 points tonight.
Yeah, you kind of just now expect St. Louis to hold their own, and then you got to keep up and make sure you get your victories. And the Flames did find a way here tonight. Let's go back inside the room. Let's hear from Blake Coleman now.
What do you say about the way this group continues to do what you've been doing?
Just resilient. I think we just always have that belief, and guys are stepping up at big times. And I think even down 1 in the third, we felt like we were gonna find our way back into the game, and just opportunistic goals, saves when we need them. Honestly, it just boils down to the will to win.
You've played against and with Nas for a number of years. What are you seeing out of him? It seems like he's found yet another gear, and that's saying something.
He's an old dog, huh? Some guys just have that clutch gene, that it gene. They want the puck on their stick in a big moment. They've got that calmness and poise with it to make the play that they need to make. And like I said, when I say that guys are hungry to win and push for this playoff race, he's right at the front of it.
Does that change the nerves on the bench at all on the breakaway? Are you guys confident in that scenario? Or
Frosty gave me a little pop on the chest and go, "Here goes showtime," and then that was it. That was it. So we had a lot of faith in him. He looked a little gassed, but and the dome ice can be a little tricky late in games. But like I said, he's just got that it factor.
Maybe not to be overlooked. How crucial is that save from Dustin that gets him going the other way?
Oh, 2 of them, 2 in OT, and that's what OT is, right? You just trade chances and hold your breath, and he's been great. He made a couple big ones. Some of the ones that went in are just little squeakers that are kind of just lucky bounces, but he's been really good. Both goalies, but Dustin tonight was a reason we were able to come back take that lead, and then obviously why we won in OT.
It seemed like you guys were able to sort of turn things around in the third period, sort of take hold of the game. What was the difference for you guys between the first 40 and the last 20?
Just that urgency. You know, we talk about, you know, urgent, not desperate, and I thought guys were simple. We got to our game in the third, got away from it the last 5-6 minutes of the second, and our team's got a pretty good finger on the pulse. We knew that's not the way we need to play if we're going to find ways to win, and to everyone's credit, they flipped the switch, and I thought we took control for that third period.
What is the biggest difference between urgent and desperate in the way it looks out on the ice?
It's just it's a calmness to still make plays. You know, you don't want to just grip the stick and get pucks deep and not still look to create. But it's an awareness of winning blue lines, making sure if you don't have numbers, you're getting it behind. Make their D turn, go to work, quick up pucks. Just got little cues that we have, and you know, you don't want it to get sloppy and you just work dumb. You know, you want to work smart. And like I said, I think we've got a pretty good idea of what it looks like when we're all going.
You mentioned what Frost had said on the bench and what he was thinking. What were you thinking as he's going down the ice?
I just was laughing at Frosty, honestly. But yeah, you feel good. You feel good when the puck's on 91 stick and there's nobody in front of him. So yeah, we joke with him on his shootouts, but for some reason in the game he's a different guy on the B-way. You know, he's got that feel for it. So yeah, he's putting us on his back in OT, and we'll just keep riding him.
When you mentioned this team's resilience, like that's a characteristic that every team is aiming to kind of have. Is it unusual with this group?
I don't know if it's unusual, but we definitely have a close group, guys that want to be here, want to win. You know, we want to play deep into the spring because we enjoy coming to the rink and we enjoy each other's company, and you know, we go to war for each other. So I think when you have that willingness to do things together and enjoy it off the ice, it translates onto the ice, and we just got ultra competitive guys. So I'm really proud of this group and happy to be part of it.
Okay, now wrap up there. Thank you.
Cheers to another season of great times and great taste. Celebrate things done well. Original 16, official beer sponsor of the Calgary Flames. Must be legal drinking age.
Flames postgame live presented by Original 16. Brendan Parker alongside Cory Sarich. The Flames win 4-3. Another overtime special from Nazem Kadri, or Showtime as he was referred to there by Blake Coleman. And he gets the job done for a second straight game. Flames earn their fourth straight win. Let's hear from the head coach now, Ryan Huska, what he thought of tonight.
Coach, how did that unfold from your perspective? What did you see out there?
I thought the first period was good for us. There was probably half of the second period after we took the too many men on the ice penalty. I didn't like the rest of the second period. I thought we lost a lot of pace in our game, but I really liked our third, and of course I liked the finish.
Audrey or the tie here? We have to just give it to one.
I would go to Cads. Yeah, he scores big goals for us, like even the power play goal, like that's a huge goal at that time of the game. And then I didn't like that he was sitting in the box for that length of time, but sometimes you stand and watch the players that are in the league, and Naz is one of them, that pressure coming from behind, he still has the composure to make a great play in a breakaway in overtime like that. That's just it's a really big goal from one of our leaders and our main guys that we lean on in those situations.
When you've seen him do this a bunch of times, you know, including your last outing, like, do you have that confidence that the game's over in that moment?
I don't know about over, but I know he's going to have impact on games because he's fiery. Like when the games get bigger, I talk about Blake Coleman being that way too. When there's more on the line, they typically play their best hockey, and Naz is most definitely one of those guys. But he always has his engine revved like to 9, but when the games are more, he's pushing 10. So you know you can count on him when the games are on the line.
Does it also feel like his engine gets revved up even more when he's in a a heated tussle there with Montour.
Oh yeah, you can tell he wasn't happy because he kept his gloves on for a reason. Like Naz has been around the block. He knows he's not going to get into a fight in that situation because then we lose him, and he knows that he's too important to be sitting for that long for us.
So you've had him here for 3 years. You haven't seen him in the playoffs for the last 2 years, obviously playing here. Do you feel like that's something that he's like going to lead this team? Like it's kind of a determination.
From him and from others, I do feel like this is like our playoff. So I think we're seeing playoff Naz, we're seeing playoff like Hubie. There's different players that we're seeing right now because they understand the situation that we're in. We have to find a way to get as many points as we can, and whether you're up or you're down, you have to make sure that you stay in games like we did tonight.
You mentioned not liking the second half of the second, but really liking the third. In your mind, what was the big difference between how your team was playing and executing in the third compared to before?
Well, the word you used, execution. Like the second half of the second period, we missed clean passes, and I think because you're lacking a little bit of execution, you lose the pace in your team game. In the third period, passes were on the tape. There was a lot more speed, and we spent more time in the offensive zone. So I think it directly correlates to execution.
Brian, kind of big picture, like the way St. Louis has been going lately and not slowing down, how do you feel your team sort of responding to that?
I think, that's all we can do is worry about us. You can't control anything that's happening to any other teams. Yes, we scoreboard watch, and we're hopeful that teams do us some favors along the way, but we still feel like if we can take care of our business, we're going to be the team that's going to make it, and there's a lot of belief that we're going to be able to do that. Okay, thank you guys.
All right, there's the head coach, Ryan Husky. You heard that last thought on the St. Louis Blues, and they have not shown any signs of slowing down to this point. Now with just 9 games remaining, though, and are up to 83 points, so they're still firmly in that second spot, although quickly catching Minnesota, if you can believe that, with the stretch there on 7 straight wins. But the Flames have reeled off 4 straight now, and they leapfrog Vancouver once again, and that's the situation. You look at the points percentage because that's kind of where it starts to become important. 568, obviously, but 564 is right there behind them. And with those 3 games in hand, still very much in the Calgary Flames' hands, but obviously got to hold court every time you take the ice, and they'll get another chance on Thursday.
Yeah, and St. Louis is garnering all the attention right now because of the kind of the hot streak that they're on. Sure. But Vancouver Canucks too, like they've got a lot of talent on that team. They've been disjointed all year. Yeah. I'm sure they're going to probably make a push. So again, it's another important point just to kind of leapfrog, get over top of them. And when teams see that in the standings too, the guys inside the locker room that are paying attention all the time, if you can continue to do that, like you can probably break Vancouver's will as well if you continue to grab these extra points and push it to overtime, just like they did last night. I'm sure all the Flames would have been paying attention to what did Vancouver do last night. But you know what I really liked? Blake Coleman said it about their determination within that room. Their just get up and get after it in the third period. It's nice when you can see that happening from inside of a locker room when these guys have been building this confidence all year. They've been building this trust in each other, and those are the certain situations where it pays out. Yep. Those end-of-period games when you got to somehow come up with a goal. You got a game breaker like Nazem Kadri, and it's really neat. It seems like the locker room for the Calgary Flames is in a really good spot right now. They've got lots of great chemistry. You've got lots of great people inside that room, and that can speak volumes.
No question, and they do it once again here tonight, coming from behind, but also having to hang in there even after giving up the lead, too, all in the course of 1 period. So they get the victory. That's the most important thing. Overtime or not, doesn't matter against the Kraken. You got your 2 points, and it's on to the next one for the Calgary Flames, which happens to come your way on Thursday as they welcome the Dallas Stars. So this starts a difficult stretch for the Calgary Flames, Dallas, and then it's on to the road one more time, starting with the Edmonton Oilers and then back-to-backs against Colorado and Utah. But the schedule continues. The push continues for the playoffs. That's what they're looking at, sitting behind the St. Louis Blues, and they'll get another chance to crawl a little closer to that playoff spot on Thursday night. Thanks for watching Flames Postgame Live, brought to you by Original 16. For all of us, we'll see you on Thursday night.